sparring gloves that we've been sparring with. As you can see, there's no fucking padding in here, and all the padding's in the back of his fucking glove. Look at that shit. I can touch my other side of my finger with this shit, and there's shit falling off in the middle of the glove. Does he know who the fuck I am? He must not know, does he? Does he? What? Oh, he does not know. Look at this shit, man. And then, hold on, these are the sparring gloves they told me they got for me. These thick ass, look at, hold on, let's see, watch the squeeze. Going nowhere. Going nowhere. Watch this shit.
Those are the words of Nick Asberey. Nick Asberey accuses Tyson Fury of doctoring gloves ahead of sparring him in 2018. Now, this is ahead of the first Deontay Wilder fight. For those who aware of that particular fight, that fight, of course, was the fight that Tyson Fury called Deontay Wilder out for, and Deontay accepted. And this was a sparring partner that stated that Tyson Fury tampered with the gloves of his sparring partner. Now, look, one thing you never supposed to do, and I'm going to give both sides. For one, you never supposed to intentionally hurt your sparring partners. That's some shit you don't do. Now, as being a sparring partner, you never supposed to decide or state what happened in sparring or during sparring. Now, he's saying, oh, what he did or what he didn't do, but this is one thing that sticks out as a red flag to me. This guy was showing, and I'll send the link. This guy was showing that Tyson Fury's gloves were a lot thinner than his, okay? But then yet he's reported to still have sparred with him. And so the question you ask yourself is, well, if you're checking the gloves and you're outraged and he's like, oh, do you know who the fuck I am and all this? Well, did you still fight him with those particular gloves? Did you make him get other gloves? What was rectified? What was the result? Okay? Because the way he is, I'm looking at this video, it seems to me like, oh man, these gloves don't look right. They weren't in a regulated bout, they were sparring. Okay? Now, a lot of people might look at this misleading. You might think that he did something like a Jose Resto in the Wilder fight or whatever because of his lack of punching power, right? But you have to remember, these are Everlast power locks, okay? These particular gloves are notorious for wearing down, okay? So for him saying, oh, Tyson Fury snatched this shit out of his gloves and you know what, therefore, I think he intentionally tried to do that to hurt me. Okay, for one, I think that's too fucking convenient to right now. This is October 20th, okay? 2019. Why are we just now hearing about this now? Why is this such a factor? Why wasn't this a factor when you sparred the motherfucker a year ago? You know what I mean? Why is this guy, Nick Asberey, now making noise and making waves about a particular story that happened damn near over a year ago? I question that. That's too convenient. You have to look at everything as a whole. And then okay, yeah, I did spar with him or whatnot, this, that, and the other, but there was really not a real huge story on why, that happened. Okay. You know what I mean? It's just it's just too, I don't know. It's too convenient to me. It's just too convenient to call. I'm looking at these feeds and this is weird. See, this happened a day ago. These sparring sessions supposed to happen over a year ago. And that I don't get why it's just now coming to the light now. You know, this should have been news from yesteryear. You know what I mean? So I don't get that. I don't think Tyson Fury did do that. And if he did, he's totally 100% wrong. You know, and if he gets that reputation, he would have problems getting sparring partners in there. Let's say he did do it. Let's say that Tyson Fury knew that he couldn't punch like he's supposed to, so he wants to give the perception that he's a hard puncher, so he starts taking a little bit of the cushion out of the glove, right? He starts hurting sparring partners. That's a perfect scenario for Jarrell Miller. Remember that? Remember Jarrell Miller was knocked out and he sent him home? So if you wanted to, you could say, and you could question like, oh, well, that's probably why Jarrell Miller fucking got beat the way he did, because he couldn't take a punch from a person that was tampering with his gloves. Right? That could be the case. Who knows? We don't really know what that is. My guess is, knowing the history of the gloves, knowing the gloves are notorious for wearing down easily. Right? On top of, why are we just hearing from this now? On top of a fighter that hasn't boxed in a few years. It's just all too convenient, because maybe he's going through hard times. Maybe he just wants to hash this now. Okay, if he had that, if he heard of that, if he was trying to use the discretion of, hey, what goes on in sparring stays in sparring, but why are you just now trying to break that code now? As opposed to last year when this actually went on. You know what I mean? Why are you coming to and forth now? I think if it is true, it's fucked up. There's no excuse for that. You don't do that to people overall. You're still putting people's life in danger by you're taking cushion out of gloves. You're making a glove that was regulated, not regulated. Okay? That's bullshit if he done that. If Tyson Fury done that, he does need to be exposed. But coming from a glove that has the reputation of wearing down. I gave a cousin some gloves because he's an MMA guy, but he likes to box too. So I gave him my old gloves. And they were Everlast. Power, same type. I know they were Everlast. And within a few months, because he trains, he's like one of those... The dude trains. He's a young guy. He's like 19 years old, and he loves to train. He punched those fucking gloves so much. Within like a few months, you could they had shredded. Not only they shredded, they basically, his fist from punching this. He has a heavy bag up at his house. Those gloves weren't worth shit. Okay, that's an Everlast glove. So I think, if Tyson Fury was sparring him, it was from some gloves that he'd had for a long time. Certain times you can get accustomed to certain gloves. Who knows? But I think that's what that is. You know, I'm looking at all these other channels, and these other channels are like, oh, well, he's accused of this changed the dynamic and this, that, and the other. Well, it has nothing to do with the fight per hand, because if you know how the fight is regulated, those that he trained with are not the same that he went in the ring with Deontay Wilder with. And it wouldn't matter anyways, because he buckled Deontay and got his attention in the 12th round. So no, none of this even if this shit was true, it doesn't mean anything about that affects the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury bout. Nothing about this affects it. This is a guy, I feel, that hasn't fought in a while. If he hasn't fought in a while, how is he going to support himself? So what he has to do, has to make a buzz around himself. He has to make some commotion, right? He has to make something happen in his favor to bring him attention so he can either get a fight or get a lawsuit or do this or do that. But I'm like, dude, this happened a fucking year ago. Why are you just now coming out with it? That's my take on it. You don't just come out with something that's injustice, somebody fucking with gloves, punching you in the face with. It does not make sense to me. And then you look at all these little channels and shit, they're running with it. That's why I waited. I was like, you know what? I hear this shit, but then I'm not going to just, oh, look, this is what happened. Tyson Fury did this and that and the other. It didn't make any sense to me. You know, I'm looking at a guy that's inactive as a pro, supposed to have sparred Fury to get him prepared for Deontay Wilder in 2018. We all know that shit was in 2018. We won't see the rematch until like February 2020. Okay? So, what are we really talking about? You know, we're talking about a guy that's accusing another guy. But what position and what predicament is the other guy? Like I just explained. All right. So anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Nick Asberey's accusations against Tyson Fury. Did he do it? Didn't he do it? You guys let me know. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace.